individuals have been available for my growth too. You see, I understand that and I can relate to it. And that's why I just ask God to continue using me for his work. And I truly believe what you do in the life of others, God will do for you and yours. In one way or another, it returns back, even tenfold. And that's also one of the gifts that we get for being alongside each other in partnership on this business journey and just a part of a team. You know, they say that you can truly gift someone else with your talents, your skill set, and your ability. And all of us right here really are a demonstration of that. We've had some phenomenal leaders, from David Marquez, having brought in and introduced Jackie and Matthew to this opportunity, as well as Malcolm and myself with our senior vice president, Xavier Marrero, who I always kind of have this little joke of years back when, before we got started with this business, I say he was one of the most valuable closers of my life. And I just mean on a friendship. I reached out to him because he inspired me. He reflected to me something that I looked up to and something that I wanted to achieve for myself. And it was just in his demeanor and his posture. And again, by way of that friendship, I was introduced to this particular platform that transformed mine and my family's life. Wow, like nothing else had prior to. So for anyone who might be hearing my voice for the first time or seeing me transmitted, if we haven't yet already met, and if you don't yet know my story, I'm gonna just help you tap into that a little bit. I'm a New York native. I was born and raised on Long Island, Dominican parents. Que lo que, mi gente? Super orgullosa, very proud to be Dominican. And I feel like being bilingual has given me the privilege to help want to serve both communities. And Jackie will tell you, she and I in the beginning of this definitely partnered closely, and we were serving our Hispanic and Spanish speaking communities and family members. And we will continue to do so. It doesn't stop, right? We're nowhere near our end point. There's so much more still to accomplish. And as far as life and what it was able to teach me is, real young, I had to step into responsibility. I became a mom at the age of 15, and I knew the importance of education and schooling. So I focused on my studies, graduated high school early. By the time I was 17, I had had my second child, who was actually a premature baby, 23 and a half weeks. Spent several weeks, in fact, the first few months of his life in the hospital. And they definitely drove me to doing whatever they needed for me to do. And if my children needed something, mommy just got another job. I was single for many years of my young step into in the first years of motherhood, and it was a challenge. But if my kids needed more, I just did more. And when I found myself having 4 jobs in New York because of our needs across the board, I wanted to change things in life. So I moved to Tampa, Florida in 2004. I got started at an entry-level position in healthcare. And I've been really fortunate to have a ton of people in my circle as examples of business owners, entrepreneurs. I mean, my very first job when I was 12 years old, I actually worked for one of my aunts. She owned a beauty salon. And I started working out, tending to the cash register, sweeping up, washing hair, just making some money. And I just felt like it introduced me to what's possible. You see, I'm also here before you people, owning my own business, actually having formally launched my very first S corporation for this 2021 new year, Access More Enterprise. But I can also say I'm a 4-time college dropout, you know, and a teen mom. I'm a survivor of domestic violence as well. And there's still so much more to my story that I used and have been able to use as stepping stones and blocks too. Like they say, build your building with everything that's thrown your way. And I was introduced to this particular opportunity because none of my years of formal education taught me about credit and finance. Like so many of us, we learn because we don't have access to the things that we want. And that particular word, access, for me is what inspired the vision I have with my company of Access More Enterprise, because I do believe that we are deserving of so much more. See, I'm very big on my faith, and I just feel that if, you know, God Almighty himself thought that there needed to be a Matthew Ortiz in this world, a Jackie of all trades, Jackie Garcia, and a Malcolm McLeod and a Myra Ferreira, if we needed to exist, it was because there's the potential of the greatness that we can add to it, because that's the same God that created the sun, the moon, the stars, the sky, the depths of the seas, and all that there is when we open our eyes. So my vision with it as well is to help other individuals allow themselves, give themselves permission to, and seek what it is to have more access to options. So, I mean, this is what I could tell you is this arrived in my life at a time where I had gotten a denial for an auto loan and I was stuck. You know, I knew what it was like to work real hard and my income told me one thing, but my awful credit score told me something else. And I had gone to college, as I said, several times, and it's very common practice that you can find yourself in a huge amount of debt. And when I went from different colleges, student loans are very commonly sold from lender to lender. So I just ended up falling, I wouldn't say victim, but falling to having the consequences of those circumstances, right? I'm very mindful of what I say, because, if you speak life into what you do, you can make it happen. And, it wasn't a good feeling when I got that no and I got that denial. So Xavier introduced me to this opportunity. I learned about credit finance. I became a product of the program, and I got very passionate about sharing it with other individuals. Now, at that time, I was also a divorced mom of four, and just working, again, still doing what I had to do for my children. And even if that meant 40 to 60 hours a week, I had focused on clinical research. I got my certification in that, something I'm super grateful for, because that was also a lot of what introduced me to thinking bigger. See, and any of us that may have ever had a headache, we go to the store, buy ibuprofen, and we just know the bottle's there, we get it. But in regards to clinical research, it introduced me to having the vision of how small something can start out and how huge of an impact it can make. So, I became a professional at that. But one of the things that always weighed heavy on my heart was that I was now the absentee mom and dad, because I could never be there at the bus stop for my young boys at the time, adolescents growing into, young teens and stuff. I just had to always work. And many times I told my children no, either because I was working or I couldn't afford the things that they asked me for. And over the time, I just got fed up with that. And I wanted to give myself the access so that I was no longer saying no unless my children didn't earn something or didn't deserve something. I didn't want it to be a lack of what I could provide for them that kept them from growing and experiencing life on a so much different level. So 6 months into this opportunity, and I'll share with you, I had a solid 15 years working in that profession. It was a pretty secure position. And I'll never forget the day that I decided to go ahead, 6 months into this opportunity, that I had been able to match the same income that had taken me those 15 years to create. I decided to put in my resignation letter as an employee and take that task on a contracted basis. And I cried. I literally typed up that resignation letter. I was hands trembling. I handed it over to another coworker, and I asked them to slip it under the doors for the supervisor, the owner, and another partner of the practice where I worked, because it was such an emotional step for me. I was scared. I didn't know what would come of it. I didn't want the emotional repercussions to that too, because to top it all off, I worked for family, right? So if they can hear me and hear me share this information or share my story, I'm grateful for all of that, because they were the first inspirations to me and the first examples of what entrepreneurship can provide for you, what entrepreneurship can allow, and how many lives you can actually change by granting yourself that access. So again, 6 months into doing something that I was petrified to do, 6 months into taking a leap forward and deciding I was going to make it bigger, I stepped into accepting the reality that there's no prerequisite for you to follow your dreams. You're not limited regardless of whatever's around you, because it all comes from it within here. And if you have a skill set and a talent, you should find a way to bring that out. They say your purpose in life is to find out what your gifts are, but not to keep them for yourself, is to give them away. And I find that, by helping other individuals and introducing them to what's possible, you never know what it is that you're truly funding. So again, I am about to step into soon to be third year with this company, branching off as well to my own S corporation, because I don't want to stop there. I have to understand that I've never met anybody that said they wouldn't be open to making more of an income, right? So if other people can do it, you have to see yourself as capable of doing it as well. So entrepreneurship itself is an opportunity where you don't have to necessarily have that college degree and that debt and those certificates and that level of formal education. And I will never knock formal education. But the thing is, there's other options. And I would hate for people to think that they're held back by perhaps not yet following the path that others have. Because you need to think, at 18 years old, if you're any point past being 18, it's difficult at that point in life to be able to take on even up to a $50,000 student loan debt. Yet it might be for a career or a degree in something that might not truly be your calling. So again, I'm grateful for all the formal education I've been exposed to and introduced to, and certain career paths require that. But at the same time, none of us were meant are designed to fit in a box, in my opinion. So life is totally different now. My only boss is whatever I schedule myself to really do, because it's an option and I can take full satisfaction and feel that gratification in what I do with my time. It's a matter of, do my children have an event? Is my, cheerleader at a game? Is she at practice? Or, is my son here or there? And again, life is very different, even as far as where we lived. Now, I can't speak to those rag to riches stories of individuals who may have struggled so much more financially, and I just say that in gratitude. I just say that in acknowledging that everyone's rags to riches story is unique to them. That doesn't necessarily mean a dollar sign, because I came from an extremely broken place, of feeling tremendous amount of insecurity, of feeling like I had failed on my children. The first relationship for the father of my sons was not my lifetime relationship. And then for having been married 8.5 years, because I refused to have another baby daddy. And to tell you the truth, it almost cost me my life. People don't even know how, a quick little simple thing about me. Some people might notice I have a deviation in my gaze. So my eye might go in a little, I might go a little cross-eyed to you, but people have no idea that it's because coming out of that relationship, I was so badly beaten that I had two black eyes and I didn't look the way that I look right now. And I had to go into a battered women's shelter and stay there and go through that experience. At one point I had to be on medication for PTSD to be able to sleep, but then to be able to wake up and function. And to be at that level of so broken, hurt, and just low on life, and feeling like I was counting myself out, to be surrounded by people that inspire me, to be looked at in a way that there's so many others that may see potential in you that you have not yet acknowledged. And just to partner with individuals like that, it could speak volumes that will affect lives generationally. So now I overhear when my daughters have conversations about, let's say, their school grades. And a funny story is on how my 11-year-old was talking to my 15-year-old, and I'm eavesdropping, and my 11-year-old is asking my 15-year-old, "Oh, did you get an A?" And my daughter was like, "Well, I got a B." And she's like, "No, you need to get good grades so you can go to college and get a degree, and she said something like, become a professional and whatever it was." And my 15-year-old was like, "Listen, I'm going to get a degree, but I'm not going to get it for a job. I'm going to get it for my own business." So again, to know that that's what our journeys can translate into for the lives of our youth, who look to see what's possible for themselves, it feeds my soul day in and day out. And for anyone who might hear this, I would really like for you to think, something that impacted me tremendously is when you reflect on what it is to be an infant, a brand new baby. There's only two fears that you're born with, and that's the fear of falling and the fear of a loud sound. Any other fear besides that was unfortunately improper programming. It was at some point or another where perhaps the influences that were around you tried to tell you what you couldn't be or what you couldn't do or what wasn't possible. And I'm here to just remind people as much as I can that if someone else can do it, you can too. And so many things may seem impossible until the very first person does it. And here we are again, surrounding ourselves by people who have chosen and decided to step into the next level of who they really are meant to be. I thank God every day for that privilege and opportunity. I do got to correct you, Matt, though, so I'm no longer single. But it took so much growth on my own part to even be at a point where I can enjoy, bigger than double the square footage where we reside now than where I had lived for 5 years with my two daughters. And on top of that, being in a healthy space where those individuals that are around me add value, contribute to that, and just win. I feel like the success in someone else's life is a reminder for others on how it's possible for them too. And again, thank you, Matt, for this platform and this series and opportunity, because we're just looking to be great storytellers and inspire others on staying true and sticking to their dream. And if you can dream about it, I do believe that God trusts that you can carry it out. So here we are carrying out our dreams. This is just the beginning. We've only gotten started. And I'm excited to see everyone else on this journey take it straight to the top. So, again, taking it back to you, Matthew, God bless you. Thank you for putting this together. You serve to inspire so many. And, I'm excited for what you have in the works too. So anyone else that would want some information on this, feel free to reach out to Matt. If you're currently a follower of Jackie, let her know, listen, girl, what's up? What is it that you've got going on? Malcolm as well. If you're seeing this and you're a friend of his on his feed, he's probably already tried, but if not, give him the opportunity to introduce you to something that could transform your life. For myself, go ahead and find me on hashtag May Money, Myra Ferreira as well. Follow me, send me a request, whatever the case is. We are here to partner with those that just want to see a little bit more for themselves. And again, just thanking God and all of us for the opportunity to be connected with such great purpose. And this is just the beginning. Let's go.
Whoa, 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 so many nuggets, Myra. Sorry. Whoa. You know, that, look, guys, you got to write your notes. You know, these guys have nuggets, and I'm taking every one of them. Like, seriously, this is what my leaders showed me. They said, hey, we have a roadmap. We're going to follow it. And how are you going to get there if it's not written? And that's what I learned from David Marquez. That's what I learned from Jackie. That's what I learned from Myra. That's what I learned from Malcolm. Man, you guys are so inspirational, and I'm so glad to be a part of your network. I'm so glad that I can call you guys. You guys are so beautiful queens, and you, Malcolm, you're the biggest king. You know, I'm so glad to call you my brothers and my sisters, and I'm so glad that I'm able to be here. So just to let you know a little bit about me, you know, I worked for T-Mobile, just like Malcolm. You know, I wasn't a supervisor, I wasn't a manager, I just started working. My son got bullied, and they fired me because my son was getting bullied. They were throwing slingshot rocks at my son. You know, my son was only 10 years old, 11 years old. And I had to tell my boss, hey, listen, I need to have off of work. He said, I just remember the conversation. I'm on the phone. I'm like, yo, I need to have off because my son's getting bullied. He got suspended for 3 days. He said, hey, if you can't make it not one of those days, we no longer need you. And I was devastated. That was the only thing I was doing. I was a top salesman in the network. And I said, wow. And I joined with this platform like a month or two before, and I didn't do anything with it because I was secure in my job. And then I found out my job wasn't that secure. And it was crazy. I was devastated. Then after those 3 days passed, I get a call from my mentor, David Marquez. I'll always remember this, you know. It was his anniversary coming up the next day, and we were going to Atlanta, and he's like, hey, Matt, you want to go to Atlanta? I said, dude, I can't go to Atlanta. I'm looking for a job. He's like, dude, you have a business. Let's go to Atlanta and go see what's happening. I'm like, dude, I don't have a ticket. He's like, we're carpooling. I said, dude, I only have $56 in my pocket. $56 in my pocket, that's not gonna get me a room. That may not even get me food. You know, Atlanta's expensive, you know? So he's like, Matt, don't worry about it. We got you. We'll take care of you. You know, I'm thinking, hey, we're gonna have a lavish room. No, we had one room. We had probably 13, 14 people sleeping in that room. People on the floor, people on the bed, people everywhere. And we all went just to get the information. And when we got out of there, bro, we were super excited. We didn't go to sleep. We were working. And it was just a transition, a blessing, you know, something I never thought, you know, that somebody that is married, it's the anniversary, you're supposed to be with your wife. His wife's in Florida. We're in Atlanta. We're at a training. And I'm like, dude, your wife's gonna kill you. I got a wife. She would have killed me. But he has such a strong leadership with his wife. And he's like, babe, I got to do this. I know next one's going to be even the better. And I guess she understood that. She probably was a little mad, but he showed us the way, and he's showing and keep on progressing. You know, he was eventually, so he told his wife that he was going to make sure she didn't have a 9-to-5 job anymore, that she was not going to work. He done that. He told me, Matt, you're not going to ever have to go back to work. He done that. You know, these are the leaders that I'm learning from. These are the leaders that are teaching me. And I'm so grateful. I'm a regional sales director. My business produces 25,000. These guys are higher than me, but guess what? I'm right there with the trenches. I'm ready to go to work. I'm eager. to see how this is all gonna play out, because I seen every one of these guys come up, see them progress in a different way, and I loving it, because it's all about who you surround yourself with. You know, you hang out with some bad people, guess what? You're gonna be bad. You know, you hang out with some successful people, you know what? Success rubs off. And this is what I'm realizing. And this is what I love about it. Yo, thank you guys from Rags to Riches. You guys have a wonderful night. Yo, it's been a pleasure. The pleasure's all mine for having you guys on here, man. I know you guys are really busy, so I'm not going to take too much of your time. Peace out, love, and chicken grace.
Thank you, Matt.
No problem.
Thank you
Matt.
so much, Matt, Malcolm, Jackie. I appreciate you guys. Let's
You guys.
continue to get